Sir,
Yes.
இந்த நியூஸ்பேப்பர் கண்டென்ட்ஸும் ஹார்ட் காப்பியா இருக்க நியூஸ்பேப்பர் கண்டென்ட்ஸும் வேரி ஆகுமா சார்?
No, both are similar. I will show here also. Actually, in the next page, so this is what I have marked and cut it out.
Okay, sir.
But everything is similar only.
Okay, sir.
Okay, only the regional news will get vary. The national issues are always similar. Okay, if you see today's newspaper, it would be look like. Have you seen? This is the first page. Then this is second. Then this is third. The actual news starts from here. Okay.
Yes,
And
yes. Okay.
reason for calling you all to attend this newspaper session is yesterday they have tabled the economic survey. So majority of the questions in the preliminary we can expect from this economic survey. Okay, some basic questions and some of the fact they can ask. So that is why I arranged this one. So one is, then some international issues are also there. Okay, we will see one by one. And before going into the news, some of the basic information, if you have already prepared, just tell, share your knowledge here. Which department of the finance ministry is preparing economic survey? Do you have any idea? Pamba?
Sir? Yes, sir.
How many departments are there in Ministry of Finance? The basic things.
Sir, this is actually released by Ministry of Economic Affairs. Sir. Economic Affairs.
Yeah, okay. So done by Economic Affairs, Department of Economic Affairs.
Yes.
So yeah, Economic Affairs. Okay, how many departments are there? Just as general.
Total number of ministries are in finance.
Yes, how many departments are there in the finance ministry?
Sir, CBIT, that is Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, and Economic Affairs, Finance Affairs.
Okay, there are departments are there. Okay, Department of Expenditure, Department of Economic Affairs, Department of Revenue, Department of Financial Service, and Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, and Department of Public Enterprises. So these are the various departments comes under the Finance Ministry. Okay, and who will table this document into the Parliament by President or Finance Minister?
Sir, Finance Minister, sir. This is prepared by Chief Economic Advisor. Presented by the Finance Minister.
Yeah, okay. This is the basic information, and some of the summary has been given in the first page itself. If you look out this one, and this is what they have clearly mentioned. Okay, and it starts from like relatively the economic survey gives a rosy picture of India's domestic growth outlook. Okay, some of the fancy word they have mentioned here. Okay, do you know rosy picture? Just I'm asking. Any idea? Rosy picture none. It's a positive approach of some situation. That's all. Okay, some optimistic approach about the current Indian economy, and some points they have highlighted here. See, estimating around 10 to 20% chance of crisis worse than the global financial crisis of 2008. Okay, and similar thing may happen in 2026. And this thing they have made it 3 scenarios: scenario 1, scenario 2, and scenario 3. So here the same economic scenario 1, scenario 2, and scenario 3. We will see in depth in separately. And this is the common knowledge I asked? No. It is authored by Chief Economic Advisor and tabled in Parliament by the Union's Finance Minister. Okay, and some information you can note down from the economic survey. So this time they have projecting the India's growth is around 6.8 to 7.2%. This is one in the next financial year. Then and it's a total export in the financial year 2025. It's about 825.3 billion US dollar. 825.3 billion US dollar. In that to 825, service export itself around 3,887. Sorry, 387.6 US billion dollar. Okay, these are some of the basic. And one more point also highlighted in this news, the current account deficit. The CAD, the current account deficit remain modest. Okay, and supported by the net inflow from service export and remittance. Okay, net inflow and remittance are supporting the current account deficit. Then the agriculture and allied activities are contributing around 1/5 of the national income. These are some of the summary facts. And the three scenario it has been highlighted here. So one is the best case, and it may happen, the probability of around 40 to 45%. These are all just they have the predicted the multipolar breakdown, and the worst case what will happen. Okay, and in the scenario one talks about the entire 2026. The 2026 will look like 2025. That is why they have mentioned the business as in 2025. Okay, and at the same time, it will be more unstable or unsteady. It might be. That is why they have again 40 to 48%. And markets are already having stress. But especially the example they have mentioned, it is not here, but the markets are why shaken because of the gold price rise very higher manner. Gold. Okay, gold prices are already rising, soaring. So, for example, recently in January 26, around the 1 ounce gold is around $5,000 US dollar. Okay, it was in the it's like it jumped from around $2,000 to around $4,000 or $5,000 per ounce. Okay, per ounce means around 3.5 pound or 25.35 grams. Okay, this is some of the fact. 28.35 grams. Okay, and this is one scenario. So that means, so it may create a lead to total collapse, or the minor shock will require government to intervene to stabilize the market expectation. These might be happen. This has to be happen. Okay, and this is one scenario. Another scenario they have explained. Yeah, fractured world. It hits growth and portfolios. There's a multipolar breakdown. The fractured world growth. Okay, and especially the various conflict, the geopolitical wars, geopolitical situations, wars, sanctions, and supply chains restriction under the threatened tariff, especially from the US side. So these are all classified under the scenario 2. Okay, the Russia-Ukraine conflict and Israel-Gaza conflict and the Iran sanctions. Okay, and US on Peninsula, then US over the Greenland. Okay, so these are all the geopolitics, wars and trade is one side, another side, the supply chains are realigned or restricted by threatening the trade threat. Okay, so these are comes under the scenario 2 classified by the economic survey. And third scenario, it talks about a shock which may hit the financial hurdle, which means that was the worst case. It may happen or may not be. That is why the probability of happening the third case, the worst cases around, they have predicted around 10 to 20%. Okay, and in that they have given the idea of correction in AI infrastructure investment may occur, and it's a risk aversion, which means the people's decision on investment may diverted. Okay, so that will trigger, or that will affect the overall or collapsing the economy in different way. Suppose people are not investing on the right way due to the gold or real estate slowdown. So this may happen. Okay, in the AI driven market approach. And another reason they have given under this scenario is that the geopolitical escalation. Okay, that will weaken the capital inflows. Okay, and it contact the global liquidity also. This is what happening with the last 4 or 5 months. We were talking about the US dollar, the strengthening US dollar. Okay, and at worst case, it will again lead to the or lesser than the 2008 global financial crisis. But the happening of this one is probability is very 10 to 20% only. So this is what highlighted by the economic survey. Now, so come to the next one. It's one of the editorial. So yeah.
இந்த 3 சினாரியோஸ் பத்தி கொஞ்சம் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ண முடியுமா சார்? எந்த பேசிஸ்ல இந்த 3 சினாரியோஸ் கால்குலேட் பண்றாங்க? அண்ட் இந்த 28.35 grams of goldன்றது what unit sir? I was not able to hear the name.
OUNC ounce னு சொல்வாங்க.
Ounce. Okay.
OU. In international gold market, they used to measure the gold in this unit. Okay. 1 ounce means how much gram means 28.35 grams. அப்ப நம்ம கணக்குப்படி 28 grams it's around 3.5 pound வருமா? 1 pound 8 grama?
ஆமா சார்.
ஆமா. So around 3.5 pounds வரும். Correct?
ஆமா சார்.
Okay, and already we have discussed enough why the gold rate has going that much higher, that we have discussed.
ஆமா சார்.
Okay, one side countries are buying. Now you might have remembered we are having India alone having the gold capacity of around 800 something tons of gold. We are having 800 tons. And if you compare to US, it is more than 8,000 tons are there. So every countries they are getting this one, and internally around 15% goes as a due, comprising with the duty and tax over the cost on gold. Okay, so these are the various reasons why it is raising. And because of this one, if people are diverting their investment in the case of scenario 1, then this may lead to the continuous economic effect of the purchasing parity. We used to call them PP. Okay, public purchasing capacity, then inflation. So everything will lead into different direction in the consumer side. And if government also focusing more on purchasing gold or keeping the gold or strengthening its gold reservoir, then again it will reflect in the economy. Purida? Okay, that is a risk aversion, in the sense the decision making where to invest properly by considering the global situations, or the especially the price, increasing decreasing level of the gold. Okay, And the first scenario and second scenario you can understood very well. First scenario simply it is equivalent to what the business had happened in 2025. That is why similar thing will be there. That there won't be any change. There might be a change, or there won't be any change. If there will be any change, means 60% possibilities are there. Sorry, 40 to 50%, 40% of possibilities is there. That's what the first one they have given explanation. Okay. At the same time, first scenario, what they're telling, similar thing. What happened in 2025? Everything happened like Israel, Gaza, and one small modification happened after the November, December, or January, in the January month of 2026. Higher tariff threatening the countries by increasing the tariff by the US. This has happened. Correct?
Yes,
That
sir.
is what the geopolitics things. So because of that one, how it will economic situation will change, that we have to look into in the upcoming quarter of the financial year. Okay, yeah. And second scenario, they are completely taking the situation in the geopolitical side. That is why these things they are broadly mentioned. One is the war, another one is sanctions. Okay, so 2025 January or February, there is no such kind of geopolitical concept like sanction on Iran. It was there, but not intensified like the situation escalated at current period. It was not there. And if you compare it 2025 January, there is no such kind of US invasion over the peninsula. It was not there. And compared to January to last year, the same time, there is no such kind of concept of US interest on the this one purchasing that island, Greenland. It was not there. Okay, so that is why now after the financial year of 2025, when in 2026, it may go in a higher order, like have more sanction on the other countries, because in the yesterday news I was not in published. Actually, it was not discussed with all, but in that news I explained that how the US government is threatening the countries which are supporting to the Greenlands. Okay, some of the European countries are there. Okay, so similar thing. And in the today's news, the warships are about moving near to the Iran. Okay, and at the same time, the peace settlement is going on with Gaza. Okay, so these are the geopolitical and sanctions are categorized or classified into the second scenario. Okay, yeah. So because of these incidents, how it will affect other countries, especially India's growth. Okay, in this direction, the discussion will be there. Okay, if we are reading the particular chapter, it's I think last or the chapter, I think so. We will come to more information about these three scenarios. Okay, here only the summary has been given. Okay, yeah.
Okay, sir.
Okay, shall we move to next one?
Yes, sir. Sir, அப்போ இந்த risk aversion அப்படின்னு அவங்க சொல்றது due to the increasing and due to the oscillating rate of gold in India, investors might feel that it will be like an aversion if investments take place in India.
Yeah.
Is it that way? Okay.
But that is if it is in the worst case.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, that is why they have kept it into the 10 to 20% might be happen.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Sir, could you provide a brief idea on the difference between macroeconomics and microeconomics, sir? Because it is mentioned here.
That already you have studied that NCERT, no?
Yet too, sir. 11th in start.
Macroeconomic, microeconomic. So macroeconomic, we used to study about the finance, capital, and balance of payments, banking system, and inflations. Okay, so they are all comes under macro. Micro means very small one, a little financial related things. Okay, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So there, here it is mentioned. Okay, that we will see once again in the going for the NCERT. But macroeconomic, you might have covered. Microeconomic, mostly we will not go into deep. Okay, the worst of these, the macroeconomic consequence of which could be worse than those of the, that is why the macroeconomic talks about the inflation will be there, balance of payment means again current account deficit, trade deficit will be there. Okay, and the rupee conversion rate will be there, and entire banking system will come under this macroeconomic. So whatever the consequences will happen over whatever I listed now. Okay, this is what. வேற ஏதாவது இருக்கா இதுல?
இல்ல சார்.
Okay, then the next one, it's on an international issue, that is come to editorial. India Arab League, bridging the culture, creating opportunities, and this is full of your broad information is given here. Some are related to prelims we can expect. For example, listen. Is it visible properly? Is it visible? Or I can go to that one.
It is visible, sir.
Okay. And actually, recently there is a meeting happened between the India and Arab foreign ministers. Okay, it's 30 and 31, 2026. And this meetings, the author described as the major diplomatic outreach by India. Okay, and at the same time, one side this one, at the same time the other world, the set in motion largely due to US President Donald Trump total disregard for the sovereignty of nation and the rule-based international order. This is what I explained in the yesterday class when news was took place in the Sunday newspaper. Okay, rule-based international order by one particular country. And another one, as the ministers gather in Delhi, war clouds are there over Iran, and massive military build up by the US, it is continuing. And in Syria, even though ceasefire was there, still the uncertainty is going on. Then Gaza, finally they have gone for the peace agreement. And at the same time, the recovery of the bodies of the Israel, the hostages from Gaza also done by the Israel. Okay, and so this entire paragraph, the entire world, what is happened, coming to our like என்னென்னலாம் போயிட்டு இருந்து. Okay, one side India is having a relationship with India Arab League. In other side, what is going on? That is what they have given in the introduction side. And at the same time, the most surprising development is the emergence of fault line among two close allies, Saudi Arabia and Arab Emirates, United Arab Emirates. This one, why means that these are all rival military alliance. At the same time, India also closely monitoring between these two allies. They have come together, and how the League of Arab League, how they are looking into this matter. That is what it is discussed here. Okay, so the Arab League, some basic information about the Arab League. Officially, it is known as League of Arab State, LAS. Okay, LAS, League of Arab State, when it was formed in the year of 1945. Okay, 1945. But with only 7 members were the founder members. Now it is around 22 members were there. Okay, from North Africa and West Asia. Then what about India? Although India's relation with the countries in Arab League go back centuries, and the MOU was signed between India and the League of Arab States for promote and develop the traditional relationship of friendship and cooperation between India and the Arab States. This is what one agreement they have mentioned. Okay, and through that agreement, there is a way to conduct annual meeting between the external affairs ministers of India and the Secretary General of Arab League. This is what happened now. Okay, and step by step, what improvement took place in the League of Arab States with India means in 2008, the Arab India Cooperation Forum established, and then in 2010, then Indian ambassador to Egypt was designated as India's permanent representative to the Arab League. Okay, the first meeting of the Arab India Cooperation Forum held in 2016 in Bahrain. Okay, then in addition, there is a India LAS Partnership and Investment Summit that took place, and during the current visit of the foreign minister, a new initiative called India and the Arab countries Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture is scheduled. That is inaugurated. So these are the step-by-step improvement in India and the Arab League organization. And through this, what are the key pillars? Because India LA's the partnership is not only a traditional, as it is mentioned earlier, it goes beyond the trade and investment also. Beyond trade and investment. And in that line, Oman was the first country. Oman was the first country with which India signed a strategic partnership in 2008. This one already we had seen 2 or 3 months before, India and Oman related international issue. And similarly, other countries are signing in the strategic partnership condition, that is UAE in 2015, Saudi Arabia 2019, Egypt in 2023, Qatar. Okay, these are all general information. And at the same time, India also strongly relied the trade region in the region, various multilateral forums such as BRICS and Shanghai Cooperation. And some of the questions may arise from the visions of various visions like Saudi Vision 2030 and United Arab Emirates Sentinel 2071, Kuwait Vision 2035, Oman Vision 2040, and India's Viksit Bharat 2047, and in Saudi Vision 2030, India is one. So, India is one of the 8 strategic partners. Okay, and trade and investment during the COVID pandemic, most of the India's external trade passes not only that time, generally the most of India's external trade passes through the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, and Gulf of Aden. Okay, and bilateral trade between the India and this League of Arab States, it's around 240 billion US dollar, and in with the UAE alone across around 115 billion dollar. This one is a general information. These things you can note it down in separate notebook how much trade amounts are there, so that whenever it is needed in the mains, if the numbers are in our mind, we can highlight, or approximately or generally or about this much, that we can highlight with the percentage. Okay, so these are all data you can make it separately for the mains purpose. Okay, and another, so come to here, and the new initiative proposed by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he was pushing for digital public infrastructure, through which some of the initiative taken in the other countries, like the League of Arab Emirates countries. One of the initiatives, the RuPay card, launched in UAE in August 2019. Then Indian rupees being accepted as a legal currency in Dubai airport. Okay, so these are all some of the new information. Then India's Unified Payments Interface (UPI), okay, already accepted by for financial transaction in Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE. So from this area, any question they can frame in the prelim to make the candidate to confuse. Highly factual. At the same time, we must know about these things, because these are one of the development activities between the countries. And then another one, factual data here: how much India share with them in the energy sector, because around 60% of the Indian crude oil imports comes from there, and 70% of the natural gas, and more than 50% of the fertilizer and related products, okay, comes from a league of Arab states. Then in that, especially the Iraq and Saudi Arabia, you are the top 3 exporters of crude oil. And leave it, come here. So living under the threat of conflict and terror. Okay, these are some of the strong statement. Living under the threat of conflict and terror. And the one more word also we can add here: the rule-based international order. The security and defense are growing the important pillars and partnerships, so through which we have initiated some of the steps. That Sagar means security and growth for all in the region, especially in the Indian Ocean region, particularly against the sea piracy and maritime security threat. Okay, and another one, this one already we have seen 2 months before, the Duam port, which is in the Oman. So how economically it is the most important to India, that already we have discussed. And again, the current situation on Iran and the Gaza peace process, okay, that also concerned by India in that region. Okay, then most of the countries, last countries are similar to, they are also having the similar idea of fighting against the cross-border terrorism, because already India has witnessed many attacks, like Uri attack, which took place in 2016, Uri attack. Then Pathankot attack took place, that airbase attacks, that also in 2016. Then Pulwama attack in the year 2019. Then Pahalgam terror attack 2025. Okay, so India also witnessing the cross-border terrorism, and okay, so that is why the League of Arab States and India are journeying for the common goal of eliminating the cross-border terrorism. So that is why the key weapons we used to the production of the key weapons by joint defense production for the Tejas fightcraft and BrahMos and Akash and artillery guns. Also one of the important in the countries, along with the cyber and space and drones, are the future concerns of area of cooperation. And as India grows into the major economic, political, and military power, the Arab League or Arab League region forms a critical part for matrix. India is a strong, these are the conclusion how they have mentioned, India is a strong and reliable partner. The countries of true region may be separated by the Arabian Sea, but joined by the history, destiny, trust, and growing brotherhood. So this is a nice word. Okay, this is what how we have to highlight in the main section. Okay, so idla sonna mari some of the important factual data you take it into separately. Okay, yeah. Where idla edavadhu kekka irukkuda? Anything else need to ask from this article? போதுமா?
Yes sir, இது clear-ஆ இருக்கு.
இல்ல. Okay, then come to next. How India is going to prepare the end globalization. Actually, this is one of the topic in the public administration also. Okay. Okay. And how the concept of globalization has changed in the current scenario. This is what explained by the author. Okay, the fully talks about the Trump's administrative decision making and how he is threatening or making the other countries in favor of USA. This is what how and that action, how it is affecting the globalization concept, that is explained here. So we'll see, it's not that much complicated. See, earlier this month, the president remarked that India reduced Russian oil import. He heard a statement that I'm not happy with India that they didn't stop purchasing crude oil from Russia. But if India has not made me happy, then I will raise the tariff from 20 to 25 to 50% again. Like that, the statement he gave. Okay, and what is being it is not just a global trade, but the Trump approach over the countries, even India and other countries, it is not like a global trade relation. It's a political system that governs. Okay, and it's a pure mercantilism. Okay, or business model. But actually, globalization is what it is as the expansion of free trade of goods and services. But here, what is going on now is totally opposite to this one. Okay, that is an incomplete description. Globalization is a political system that defined how government run market and society and how they engage with each other and with networked global institution that they had established. Okay, once again, you can read the statement. The globalization is a political system. That political system defined how the government run market and society. Okay, that political system, எப்படி market and society run பண்ணுது, and how they engage with each other, with other countries, and with networked global institution. Not only the countries and other countries, in the மாதிரி ஒரு network they have given. Okay, and institution which has already created or established. Okay, so that is also associated with the liberalism, democracy, and global cooperation. Simply, he mentioned in one word, that system is now over. So whatever the global international order, it is against the liberalism, democracy, against there is no global cooperation, only the international order. So this is what he is highlighting. So what is that new order? The world economy was global long before it was liberal, but early global. He is comparing in the 20th century how the globalization, okay, like sovereignty spread faster than the democracy during the 20th century. The global institutions were birthed to offer normative framework to manage international affairs. Now what is happening? Around 68 US has withdrawn around 68 international organization, and main organization US withdrawn WTO and United Nations Framework for Convention on Climate Change. Then another one, major one, one more thing. Do you remember? Recently, he withdrawn from one of the main international organization, WTO, UNFCCC,
IMF and World Health Organization.
IMF and IMF.
World Health Organization.
That IMF will not be there. World Health Organization. And he created new body that yesterday actually you are all not there in the discussion. Nobody was there. Actually, I recorded separately. And he created new office or order, World Peace Forum, I think so. Okay, with if you want to become a member of that World Peace Order, you have around $9,000 million you have to pay to become the member. and through that he created the body for Gaza peace process. Okay, that we separate one. So this is what. Okay, and so, and even when the unilateral power was exercised, it was capped by pursuit of democracy, regional stability, and humanitarian comparison. Everything is gone. Okay, and this global system with a normative multilateral core restores several political weight ambiguous element. So come to this paragraph, unintended consequences. What are the two unintended consequences? What are they? First, return to the capital for outstripped increase in wages as the integration of the global markets and supply chains deepened economic pressure intensified through manufacture declined in some region and surged in other, and migration from poor to rich countries increased. It was the matter of time before populist politics so would take shape to respond these imbalances. So how the imbalances took place, these are that is explained in one consequences because of this one. Okay, manufacture decreased, and migration from one side, one poor country, rich countries, that increased, and the populist politics that shaped imbalances. Okay, this is one of the consequences. Second consequence is geopolitical foundation of the post-colonial era, where shaken by the rise of China. That's how China played a major role. That is mentioned here. Okay, because here they have mentioned the $1 trillion surplus economy they are having. Okay, and one more article, it is there in the next page. India has relaxed some of the things with China. So how it is going to be, that we will see. So in this one, so in China, the accumulated its wealth and power without complying with the multilateral order. This is it இது உங்களுக்கு புரிய நினைக்கிறேன். We India and other countries, so many articles are talking about Trump, but China is not bothering about Trump. That is what mentioned here. They keep on accumulating the wealth and power without complying with the multilateral order. The multilateral order. Now the newspapers in India fully focusing on unilateral order comes from the Trump. Okay, another one up from the China. China benefited enormously from access to global market, supply chain, and technology, but retained a firm state control over capital, labor, and information. This is another one, the key area how it is managed. Third one, China trade surplus reflect the relentless pursuit of the model of excess capacity and external demand. Okay, this and another one, the China accumulated enough power to emerge as an alternative model for both economic growth and consolidation of domestic political power also. Okay, their political system. Okay, so this is what they are talking about, the China's influence and its consequences. So together these development changed how the major economies come into view. Globalization, the global cooperation came into be viewed as an opportunity cost, or best they are describe about how the globalization into global cooperation, but it is not there now. That is what the author is highlighting. Okay, and come to India's role. So what is India's role going to be in the emerging global order? This one also already I have discussed, because whatever is happening in the worldwide, in what India has to do, this is what I discussed always, because the author is mentioned that over the 15 years we have squandered the opportunity, the waste of time or waste of money, waste of the opportunity to convert our demographic advantage into productive capacity. This is somewhat need to discuss in brief. Really, are we wasted? Really, are India lose its opportunity? Okay, by using the demography, because into the development or productive capacity, that need to be discussed. Second, the social pyramid has become more sharply stratified with an overwhelmingly poor and powerless. Okay, this is there. Another one, the India can still become the serious player or a strong player in some selected domains that we know is a digital public infrastructure and high potential in the renewable energy and in the service sector and democratic decentralization. This one. And so how we are using or promoting India's level into the global market. Okay, if you compare to China, it is nothing there with them. There is no democratic decentralization. Okay, and compared to okay, other sector is okay, but some in some area China also lacking. But how they are utilized or how they are surviving or succeed or surplus in the economy, okay, compared to India, that need to be taken care of. And another one, yeah, even the limited economic growth we have seen has not been accompanied by a credible commitment to expand the base through the sustained public investment in health and education. என்னதான் we are aiming from 6.8 to 7.2 percentage GDP economic growth, still we are not expanding the investment or at the base level in the health and education sector. So if it is being done, so somewhat the reverse order in the economic growth will be in the reverse order, and it will change into the in the higher level compared to China or like other developed country. This is what we can conclude. Okay, so இதுல வேற ஏதாவது doubt இருக்குதா about the author's view on the globalization? So mainly he has discussed with China as one of the model, and the inference we have to take from this article is because already we have seen many articles about the international order, rule-based international order. Simply it is highlighting the US attitude. Okay, but at the same time China is not bothered about their international order. Simply he has used one good word. Okay, without complying the multilateral order, he is accumulating the wealth and power. So how India is going to accumulate the demographic wealth and the power of the youth or political power? Okay, that is in that way we have to conclude. இதுல வேற எது இருக்கா? And how the real globalization has lost or reduced its value. That is why simply we cannot write the system is now over. We can't write like this. Okay. So anything else need to discuss here? Once again, you read it after the session.
Sir,
இந்தியாவோட
அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேட்டிவ் ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் ஏற்கனவே டெமோக்ராட்டிக்கலி டீசென்ட்ரலைஸ்டா இருக்குன்ற போது இதுல இன்னும் என்ன ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணணும்னு இந்த ஆத்தர் ஸ்பெசிஃபை பண்றாரு.
பண்ணணும்னு சொல்லல, அவர் ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணணும்னு சொல்லல. அதெல்லாம் நம்மளுடைய India can still become a serious player in few selected domains. இத வச்சு எப்படி we can play in the global order அப்படி கொண்டு வரார்.
ஓகே ஓகே சார்.
கரெக்ட்டா?
ஓகே சார். அதாவது நம்மளோட டெமோகிராஃபிக் அட்வான்டேஜ் வச்சு ப்ரொடக்டிவிட்டி இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணி அதான் இதெல்லாம் யூட்டிலைஸ் பண்ணி ப்ரொடக்டிவிட்டி இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணி அதை வச்சு எப்படி நம்ம இந்த மல்டிலேட்டரல் ஆர்டர்ல இருந்து
ஏன்னா we are focusing MSME at the grassroots level, கரெக்ட்டா?
எஸ் சார்.
இதே MSME how China is using.
Okay.
How China is the dumping it's the products from very lower level to higher level.
Getting it, sir.
But ours is very அதாவது economic activities at this decentralization level means it's very less now. Some political leader used to say we are making pickles and pots, but developed like countries like China, they are making chips and phones. Correct?
ஆமா சார்.
At very low level. higher level அது வேற. So for that, if we concentrate more on health and education at a very lower level, then it will strengthen. So அதுக்காக இந்தியா ஒண்ணுமே பண்ணலன்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. So n number of startups, n number of MSME activities. Okay, so but how it has been streamlined into overall India's growth, that is what we have to do, or we have to analyze. அப்படி இருந்து அப்படின்னா how the globalization is affected by the rule based order countries, it will be strengthened by the India's economic model. சொல்லலாமா?
ஆமா சார்.
அதாவது இந்தியாவே ஒன் ஆஃப் த ரோல் மாடல். அது இந்தியா இஸ் த ஒன்லி கண்ட்ரி இட் fulfilled the real meaning or real vision of the globalization. That already with the first paragraph itself we saw. It is the free trade and goods and service, expansion of free trade and trade of goods and service. And in deep again, the statement goes like this: it's a political system. That system defined how the government, market and society run aganum, and how the government and market and society engaged each other with network global institutions, like so many institutions are there. Okay, that is what the real meaning of globalization. So that is strengthened by, protected by, preserved by the India's economic model. அந்த மாதிரி கொண்டு வரும்.
ஓகே சார்.
ஓகேயா?
எஸ் சார்.
ஆனா என்ன பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம்? all economists keep on talking about Trump's view அப்படின்னு பேசிட்டு நாமே இன்னும் நம்மளை பெருமைப்படுத்திக்கிறோம். ஓகே, ஈவன் தோ ட்ரம்ப் gives our economy is stable, our economy does not affect. Okay, this kind of analysis should be avoided.
Getting it, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Immediately I see this one. Will removing curbs on Chinese FDI help in India? This is like a question and answer based article. Okay, recently the Ministry of Finance they have removed the curbs on FDI from foreign direct investment from China. Okay, அதனால என்ன வரும்? On this question and answer based argument is here. How will foreign direct investment from China help Indian economy? Okay, and so he says that until we create a roadmap outlining our priorities where Chinese FDI into that scale, then it is very difficult to say whether it will help or not. So okay, India has removed the restriction. அப்படி பண்ணிட்டுனா எந்த ஏரியாவில் you are going to allow? Are you going to allow in the digital currency markets like UPA அதுல போறியா, or smartphone அங்க போறீங்க? Are you going to allow, or are you going to allow the FDI in the nuclear sector, okay, or insurance sector? So where you are specifically going to allow the China FDI into India market? So you prioritize. Based on the prioritize, we can predict. This is what he says. Another economist, he says that Chinese investment can play a role. Okay, in on the economic front, expanding contribution of manufacturing sector in the Indian economy, he says. But on the security side, we have to reduce our dependency on the import from them. If you are more depend on their security system, investing more on security related system, surely it will be the one of the threat in future. Otherwise, that's what he is highlighting. And how do we approach China's investment in sensitive sector? This similar one, sensitive sector in the sense the defense and nuclear sector. Okay, but and digital currency side economy. So what they say is the digital economy of India is considered sensitive sector. He himself says, other than this other sector also there, but our security may be compromised due to potential invisible data flows. Either one of the things happen. So that is why that will kill switches that can be shut up during the period of emergency. So consumer item may not pose the same kind of concern. Okay, and okay, so that we should not make some of these limitations China specific. அப்படி இருக்க கூடாதுன்னு he is giving argument. And but another fellow is allowing investment. Non-sensitive sector can contribute heavily to reduce the trade deficit. This is one valid point. Non-sensitive sector, as much as let them invest. அப்படி பண்ணும்போது நம்மளுடைய ட்ரேட் டெபிசிட் வந்து கொஞ்சம் ரெடியூஸ் ஆகும். ஓகே, அட் பிரசன்ட் இட்ஸ் அரவுண்ட் 25.04 billion US dollar. Okay, that may come into reduce if we are allowing the FDI from China on or in non-sensitive sectors. And they are comparing to economic survey. So in 2020-23 economic survey talks about increasing FDI flows from China could help increase India's participation in global supply chain and is push export. இது எப்படி பாக்குறீங்கன்ட்டு there is a question. So for that, the economics his answer, the supply chain work efficiently in the low tariff regime. Unless you make your market open to very easy import of components, otherwise this won't happen. Okay, this is very simple. This is what the example he is giving, the Xiaomi and Oppo successful product of China and FD on these two. Okay, and so another question is related to this one. What does China gain from investing in India and allowing it to export product to markets such as US? அதாவது இங்க இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணி அதோட ப்ராடக்ட் யூஎஸ்ஓ ஆர் யூரோப்புக்கோ எக்ஸ்போர்ட் பண்ணா what will happen? Okay, how much the China will gain? That was the question put up. And in here the author says currently China has excess capacity in almost every industry. So ideally Chinese companies would not like to go and invest anywhere outside China. The reason they have 1.2 trillion trade surplus. See, that is why they are not bothering about the international rule-based international order. We are in trade deficit, that is in billion, but they are in $1 trillion surplus. Okay, so if they are having such kind of strong economy, so how they will think about these things? That's why he is raising question. So one gain is that China get into establish a supply chain outside China, that is which will insulate its companies. Okay, அவங்களோட கம்பெனியை வேறுபடுத்தி against China focused tariff in the future. இது ஒரு point. The second is having the foothold in a country like India. இந்தியாவில் கால் பதிக்கிறது because India is the fastest growing domestic market among the largest countries. Okay, because the consumer India is the largest domestic market. So அதனால many times domestic product பொறுத்தவரை our central government itself will stop or restrict the product which comes from China. And one example we can say the China crackers. Okay, and 10 years or 15 years before, lots of smartphones come from China without guarantee, without warranty, without proper working conditions. Okay, and so these to be taken care. And the mari India allow panna, China will get gain. This is what he says. And if India allows such kind of thing, the domestic market will get bad. Okay, so that is why India won't allow such kind of things. And the last question, although China has their dominance in the manufacture of components, its share of US smartphone import has dwindled from 60% in 2016 to 22% in 2026. Is this a good example of what economic survey was hinting at? Which is that we can push our export to the US and Europe with the help of Chinese investment and replace them in certain ways. Question புரியுதா? இந்த question புரியுதா? Even though China dominates in the manufactured components, okay, இப்போ ஓப்போ ஃபோன் எடுத்துக்கோ இல்ல ஐபோன் ஐபேட் எடுத்துக்கோங்க, அதுல மேஜர் காம்பனன்ட்ஸ் வந்து சைனா தான். ஸோ அவங்க மேஜர் காம்பனன்ட்ஸ் வந்து சைனா டாமினேட் பண்ணாலும் அதோட ஷேர் ஆஃப் யூஎஸ் ஸ்மார்ட் போன் இம்போர்ட்ஸ் ஹாஸ் dwindled from 60ல இருந்து 22% குறையுது. Okay, is this a good example of what the economic survey was hinting? which is that we can push our export to the US and Europe with the help of Chinese investment and replace them in the certain ways. புரியுதா நேத்ரா ஆர் பம்பா
Sir,
ம்
actually, this could actually boost up our FDI as well as our export ratio, sir. With the FDI from China, we can boost the production of domestic goods, and we can export the surplus to the European Union as well as the US with the FTA, free trade agreement, FTA agreements with European Union, and as well as to exports to US. So this would actually boost up our economy in a very different manner.
That means instead of China getting gain, we will get gain.
Yes, sir.
With the same component of China.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, அதுதான் இங்க சொல்லிருக்கேன் பாரு. When we got Apple here into India, we found that very large number of components used in making the iPhone or iPad were manufactured in China. Therefore, unless we were able to access those components, it would have been very difficult to actually do this manufacturing. ஏன்னா அவங்க காம்பனன்ட் பண்ண முடியாதான். We have to create condition for the suppliers of those components to set up units in India under a special provision. இதை நம்ம இங்கே பண்ற மாதிரி கொடுக்கணும். ஆனா அதுக்கு இங்க சொல்லிட்டான் ஆல்ரெடி they are having sufficient, they won't go for the company invest company outside China. Okay, but diplomatically if we play with this one again, it is a better for India. அதான். So Chinese companies that set up units in India இங்க இருக்குது. We had to make concession. This is what India has to do with respect to those Chinese companies that set up units in India, especially for the iPhone industry. So we may have thought that Apple investment would have a major demonstration effect on the other companies that are de-risking from China of globalization. But let me say that so far as the result have not been okay allowed. One day thing is அவன் அங்க ப்ராடக்ட் பண்ணி அங்க இருந்து இங்க வர்றப்ப அவனே இங்க வந்து இங்கே மேனுஃபேக்சர் பண்ணா இன்னும் இட் வில் பி ரெடியூஸ். அதுக்கப்புறம் நம்ம if we are selling directly to the US and European countries, we will get much more gain. கரெக்ட்டா நான் சொல்றது?
சார் அப்படி பண்ணலாம், பட் அப்படி பண்ணா இண்டிஜினியஸ் ப்ராடக்ட்ஸோட மார்க்கெட் குறையுமே சார்.
இண்டிஜினியஸ் ப்ராடக்ட்டுக்கு ஆப்பிள் ஐபோனுக்கு ஐபேடுக்கும் வாட் யூ ஆர் ஹேவிங்? Either you have the competency of the product which is used in iPhone, iPad like China, அது நம்மட்ட இல்லையே. So அப்படின்னா என்ன? Then we have to strengthen our chip based system very higher compared to USA and China.
Getting it, sir.
அப்படி இருந்தனா okay, no need to think about China product. ஈவன் நம்ம ஆப்பிள தான் உள்ள கூப்பிட்டுருக்கோம், பட் ப்ராடக்ட் அதுல உள்ள நிறைய காம்பனன்ட்ஸ் ஆர் ஃப்ரம் சைனா ஒன்லி.
ஆமா சார். சார் அந்த क्वेश्चन எனக்கு கொஞ்சம் கிளியரா இல்ல சார். இன்னொரு எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ண முடியுமா?
We can push our export to the US and Europe with the help of Chinese investment. எந்த லைன் புரியல?
ஓவராலாவே கொஞ்சம் கிளியரா இல்ல சார். It is that Chinese companies are going to provide their idea and make India or make Indian laborers manufacture it, or Chinese themselves are going to come inside. எனக்கு அது கொஞ்சம் கிளியரா இல்ல சார்.
Not Chinese themselves, only investment of China in India. देखिए
But China
in the line bar, we had to create condition for the suppliers of those component. என்னென்ன காம்பனன்ட்லாம் சைனால இருந்து இங்க ஆப்பிள் மூலமா இந்தியால வருதோ,
okay,
பதிலா we can create a condition of that அந்த காம்பனன்ட் சப்ளையரை அத மேக் பண்றதுக்கு இந்தியாவிலே யூனிட் ரெடி பண்ணி கொடுத்தாச்சுன்னா அது இன்னும் காம்பனன்ட்ஸ் ரேட் வில் ரெடியூஸ் ஃபர்தர்.
getting it, sir.
புரியுதா? ஆப்பிள் வந்து சைனால இருந்து வாங்கி அவன் அசம்பிளிங்க இந்தியால பண்றதுக்கு பதிலா ஆப்பிள் காரை இந்தியாவிலே வாங்கி இந்தியாவிலே பண்றது again it will reduce now.
ஓகே.
அதுக்கப்புறம்
அந்த பேஸ் யூனிட்ஸ்ல இருந்தே எல்லாமே சைனால இருந்து இந்தியால இருக்கணும். இந்தியாலயே இருக்கும்.
அப்போ இந்தியாவில if he set up the factory, then employment and transferring the technology எல்லாமே in favor to India. கரெக்டா?
Yes.
ஆனா at the same time China won't accept. ஏன்னா already they won't like to go anywhere other than their country. ஏன்னா if manufacturing units are set up in other country other than China, again the employment opportunity will reduce there also.
Sir, but they need not alternate their units from China to India, but rather they can set up additional units in India, sir. If labor cost is less in India than in China, then China also will be benefited in a way to do this manufacturing in India.
இப்போதைக்கு but at current situation, without the setting up of base unit by China in India, they can sell their same components at higher rate.
Okay.
The final product can be sold to India through third party at higher rate.
Okay, getting it, sir. Great.
சரியா? அதுதான் வந்து பண்ணலாமா அப்படின்னு அவர் क्वेश्चन ரைஸ் பண்றாங்க. ரீப்ளேஸ் பண்ண முடியுமா in certain way? எப்படி ரீப்ளேஸ் பண்ணனா இந்த மாதிரி we have to ஒரு condition create supplying those components to set up in India under the special provision. அப்ப special provisionலாம் என்ன? That is what the policy maker they have to give to the government.
Sir, the US எப்படி involve ஆகுது sir? The base product of China
exporting to US and Europe. அதாவது ஆப்பிள் ப்ராடக்ட் இங்க மேனுஃபேக்சர் பண்ணி எக்ஸ்போர்ட் பண்ணும்போது அதோட ஓவரால் காஸ்ட் கம்மி ஆகுது இல்ல, காஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ப்ரொடக்ஷன் கம்மி ஆகும்போது ப்ராடக்ட் பிரைஸும் கம்மி ஆகும்ல. ஸோ இங்க இருந்து எக்ஸ்போர்ட் ஆகுது டு தி யூஎஸ் அண்ட் யூரோப். அப்ப அது நமக்கு தானே கெயின்.
ஆமா சார். Starting part of the questionல some US smartphone imports have dwindled from 60 to 22% போட்டிருந்தாங்க. அதனால தான் சார் எப்படி US இதுல இன்வால்வ் ஆகுதுன்னு கேட்டேன்.
US இன்வால்வ் அது ஆப்பிள் their product the company is from US, கரெக்ட்டா? ஏன்னா சைனா வந்து அந்த போன் ஐபோன் ஐபேடோட காம்பனன்ட்ஸை டாமினேட் பண்றதுனால இவங்களுடைய இது அடி வாங்குதுன்னு. ஏன்னா மேஜர் they are relying more on their components.
Okay. For US to prepare the final product, they are depending on China's components.
Yeah.
Okay.
புரியுதுல இப்ப?
புரியுது சார்.
Okay. Then last one is these are all some of the points. அதாவது unconditional cash transfer சொல்றல. இப்ப பீகார்ல வந்து they gave 10,000 cash to the woman overnight that they transferred, correct? And in India every month they are giving 1,000 rupees. Sorry, not India, in Tamil Nadu. And the ADMK government also promised if we come to power we will give 2,000 rupees per month to each woman and 1,000 rupees to the college going students. இந்த மாதிரி டைரக்ட் அன்கண்டிஷனல் கேஷ் டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் கொடுக்கறதுனால long term condition of how it will affect the economy. This is what the economic survey discussed. Okay, and these things noted that aggregate spending on the unconditional cash transfer program particularly for women is estimated at about 1.7 lakh crore for the current financial year. Okay, it is huge. ஏன்னா இதுல ரிட்டர்னும் கிடைக்காது, எதுவுமே கிடைக்காது. And it is argued that the cash transfer provide immediate income support, helping women to meet under health and personal needs. And but எந்த அளவுக்கு it will contribute to the economy in order or purchasing power increase பண்ணுங்கிறது there is a question mark. So that is why it must be rationalized. In that point it economic survey discussed, but we can see in depth if you are going into the particular chapter. So I plan to take chapter wise every 3 days or 2 days a complete summary of each chapter. Okay, அப்ப நம்ம இது கொஞ்சம் எக்ஸ்ட்ரா பார்த்துக்கலாம். அப்போ ஓகே, அதே மாதிரி தான் இதுவும். So recently the MG Narega, they wanted to change its name and some of the provision. ஞாபகம் இருக்குதா? The Vikshit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar Ajivika Mission, Gramin. Okay, so economic survey found some fault of existing MG Narega. So அது எப்படி நம்ம rectify பண்ணலாங்கிற discussion has been given in the economic survey. Okay. The some of the issue like mismatch between expenditure and physical progress of the work, and work not being executed on the ground. Instead of ground, they are using the machines in labor intensive task, and frequent bypassing the digital attendance system. So அதனால the new provisionல வந்து biometric and facial recognition they are implemented, and instead of supply driven, the demand driven system they are implemented. Okay, and instead of compulsory 100 days, okay, they have they have mentioned there's a word we have seen, அதாவது the season timeல தான் பாஸ் பண்றது. Okay, that means என்ன சொல்லலாம், ஞாபகம் இருக்கா? or 3 months 4 months they can there is no any other work. ஏன் அப்படின்னா மான்சூன் டைம்ல வந்து அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸ் இருக்கும். ஓகே, so if in those season period agriculture activities at peak, if we are providing 100 days or 150 days the employment guarantee that time or வேலை கொடுத்தோம் அப்படின்னா they will not come to the agriculture work, or agriculture labor வந்து higher demand இருக்கும். Okay, so indirectly it will push inflation and all, and it will affect the agriculture sector also. அதனால தான் when the season gap, அந்த டைம்ல there won't be any activity to be scheduled. Okay, so this is what the new bill new bill for to replace the existing MG Narega, that is discussed in that chapter. Okay, I think we can complete this one. So economic survey you also read whenever you are having time, it is in the website, and when you read economic survey, lots of information you will get, nalla easy ah irukum puriyum. And apart from that weekly ones are depends upon the available time for me, I can explain chapter wise. Okay, okay, shall we wind up now? கேக்குதா
sir?
Shall we wind up?
Yes sir.
Okay, good night then, Pampa and Netra.
Good night sir, thank you.
Good night ma.
Good night, sir.
Good night.